Hello class, welcome to week 6. I hope that many of you got to enjoy the snow and the extra days off. It was nice to have a week off in the middle of the semester. However, I know that kind of complicated a little bit of things this week as far as us getting together and getting to talk about the informative speech. Now, we're not meeting again until the 3rd of March, so you have from now until then to work on your speech. What you have completed is your write-up, and your write-up is going to help us expand upon what you have done to create your outline. I'm going to attach a Word document of an example of an outline, and this is what you'll turn into me when you give your speech. So you'll take your write-up and you'll develop it, expand it into the outline, and then you'll have a reference page. And we've been working on your references with your assignments too in the Dropbox, so you'll just want to start to expand upon that. For the informative speech, it has to be 4 to 6 minutes long. You have to have references. You have to have an outline. You need to use some type of visual aid, and you must have three oral citations within the speech. Now, an oral citation is basically according to the CDC or in an article written by. So this means that the research and the facts that you're stating, I know where you've gotten them from, and I can verify them, and it adds to your credibility, and it makes sure that you're informing us with facts and not with opinions or personal experiences. With your visual aids, you can use anything that is relevant to your topic, and remember the goal of your visual aid is to actually educate and to help your audience understand your content better. If you do decide to go with a PowerPoint or a Prezi, there are some guidelines that you need to follow. One being that you can have no more than 5 words on a slide. Now, that doesn't include the title page or the title of the slide, and it doesn't include any information on a graph or direct quotes. The reason that I've reduced it to 5 words per slide is so that you don't have a complete paragraph typed out in the middle of your slide and you read to us. That does not constitute a visual aid. Usually visuals, you want to show images, you want to show video, you want to have visual representations of things. You can have some phrases or some words, but that's really not a visual so much because you're saying the words. If it's certain words that are important for us to remember or to recall or that will help guide you, then that's different. But having a paragraph or complete sentences on a visual is not very appealing. You have to make sure that your visual is large enough for your audience to see it. You also need to make sure that you're not passing anything around during your speech. That it's distraction, because what people are going to do is they're going to look down at what you're passing around as opposed to listening to you and looking at you. And that's where we'll start off with. I'm going to attach the outline example. I had printed out copies to show you all when you came to class. But since we didn't come to class, this is kind of, I want to attach this to the bottom of this post, and that's the outline. And there are APA examples that we've been working on. Later, I'll also post an APA example. Now, if you have questions about your speech development, what you have thus far, use the informative speech area. It's another discussion area to post those types of questions, because chances are more than one of you are going to be having the same question or the same concern. And then week 6 is kind of a light week. I kind of changed it up just a bit to make it a little bit lighter since we didn't get to talk in person last week. We're going to talk about perceptions, and we're going to talk about culture, and you only have a discussion question, and you can answer both of them, but you only have to pick one. So there are 2 questions, and you get to choose one. It's due by Wednesday at 10:59 p.m., and remember your post to your classmates are due Saturday by 10:59 p.m. And so what we're going to talk about with culture and with perception as it ties into communication, it's kind of the cornerstone of being an effective or a good communicator, is understanding that how we perceive the world is not reality. The map is not the territory type deal, and that our culture will influence heavily how we see the world and how we view others within that world. So when I perceive something doesn't necessarily make it true. What I may perceive as being rude, or what my culture has taught me is rude, may not be rude in your culture or what you've been taught. It's more about learning to be more aware of the differences than it is to be closed-minded. So effective communicators, not necessarily, a lot of people say, oh, this is the politically correct chapter, and not actually, no. Being an effective communicator just means that you need to be aware that there are different cultures and that there are different perceptions, and that just because you see the world one way doesn't mean that others will see the world the same way. And that when we take a step back to examine that and to think about that, it allows us to grow as communicators, It allows us to share our message and our viewpoints with those who do not come from the same background or hold the same belief systems with us without reverting to a fight. And oftentimes, when we talk about things that are somewhat sensitive or that people are really tied to culturally or belief system wise, when we don't take into account others' perceptions and others' cultural beliefs and identities, that's when we tend to offend and we tend to belittle or dismiss others' people's points of view. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them, doesn't mean you have to like them. Just means that you have to understand that they are there, and you need to learn how to present your message in a way where they will listen to it even if they don't agree with you. And so that's kind of what this chapter is about. And I think that's about it for now. I will see you in the forums. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week. Bye.